Good evening. I am here. Normal time tonight. I was gonna start earlier, but I got caught up on stuff. I got caught up in stuff as soon as I ended work. Yeah. I'm keeping to it and streaming like every day right now. So this is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Just came out today. Well, technically midnight last night, I think people were playing it. This is a localization of the Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2 on Switch. High def, 3D, all nice, comes with both games, fully translated, as well as a bunch of special stuff, which I'll probably look over at some point. They got some extra shit for getting it early, apparently. I love the Phoenix Wright series, or the Ace Attorney series, and I have been looking forward to this. While I do wish all of the Ace Attorney games would come to Switch, I'm very glad that two of the ones that didn't come over in America have, so that's pretty cool. So this game has accolades, which are achievements, which are just simply doing certain things in the game, which isn't that hard. It actually tells you how to get some of them here, so that's cool. If I really want to go for completionism, I come back there later. But yeah, let's dive right into this. New game, select adventure. I'm guessing that's just oh, you could kind of just pick any case, I guess.
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some was swept away by the tide. But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Of course. He didn't kill him. I didn't kill that guy. Hey Enzo, how you doing? The Adventure of the Great Departure. Oh man, I have been looking forward to this. The last Ace Attorney game I got to experience for the first time was Professor Layton versus Ace Attorney. I had downloaded it when I got my new 2DS XL a year and a half ago. I played through that. Obviously not really a full Ace Attorney game, but it was close enough. And prior to that, I played Spirit of Justice. Doing good playing this game as well. Love it. I'm really looking forward to it. 22nd November, 8:43 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Yeah. Defendants Antechamber 5. Okay. Okay, that just brings up the options. What's save and load? Good. That, and we got autoplay. Oh, excuse me. There we go. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? I absolutely love how Capcom handles the 3D Ace Attorney games. Capcom really knows how to pull the most out of a system. Let me tell you. Even on the 3DS, the Ace Attorney games looked amazing, and well, it's stylized, good. They know how to do good graphics on a system. I mean, look at Monster Hunter Rise. What? Oh, no, nothing. Savior glares, murderer. There's Rumble. Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. That's enough. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes, and until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Do I have the court stuff? No, I don't yet. Technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. I could see the second-year pin on his, I like how they do that here. That's very stylized. They do the years as Roman numerals on your collar. This dude's got some serious wind going on behind his head. And yet I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. I have plenty of water and juice with me, so I will stay hydrated. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, they're using the British spelling, which makes sense. Layton versus Ace Attorney did that too. They would use the European English spelling for everything. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Any sort of denotation like suffix or prefix don't have periods in European English. That's the other thing I noticed playing Layton. Oh, no, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Though I must say, you've been all over the newspapers the past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not. You have to believe me. I didn't do it. I could never murder someone. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. This is giving me very heavy, Apollo Justice Case 1 vibes. Let's hope it doesn't turn out the same way. Kazuma Asogi, my best friend, also in his second year at Yume University. But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old. Here in Japan, anyway. My qualifications don't mean much, yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last. I know. I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you, and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me! We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow, then. partner. Alright. I'm absolutely going to need to stay hydrated here. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Asogi, may I have a word? Professor! I didn't know you were coming. I didn't either. But, I mean, well, sometimes we all shoot off a little early. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asogi, you should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. I see. I'll go at... Bleh. I'm really not hydrated, huh? I see. I'll go at once, then. I shall accompany you. Alright then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. This is awkward. If I may... Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe? Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Ah, Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma's studying abroad. Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked, and never granted again. What? As I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may not have chosen to tell you. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered? But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration has chosen from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it. I swear it. I'm not a murderer. Myrtle. I just referenced that the other day, too. I tried to say the word murder when I was playing Super Metroid, and I said Myrtle, like Eric Vale did in that one Ace Attorney blooper. Myrtle. Ha! Myrtle! I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain I don't know how to fucking say that word. God damn it. He's speaking Japanese. How am I supposed to know what he's saying? You see, there are certain peculiarities. That's a fucking tongue twister of a word. Peculiarities. There we go. About today's trial. Sorry, what do you mean? You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Well, Naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so... As soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? But what will the question be? Surely not, do you accept the accusations brought before you? Of course not. Defendant! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. It would seem our Oh my god, stop using those words, please. It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. Oh, am I gonna have to gank the lawyer position from Asogi? Is that what's gonna happen here? What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving. There's no point in advocating for the likes of you anyway. Dramatic zoom in on the bailiff's crotch. Look, we're getting closer. How close does this go in? How tight are we zooming in here? This is it. If this trial goes badly, I'll have to stare at his crotch. Look, it's getting closer. We're getting closer. Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. Of myrtle. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny. So we've had American trial, we've had Karine trial, we've had, I guess technically a Britain trial, we've had Mystical Village trial, now we finally get Japan trial, Meiji Japan trial. 22nd November, 9 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 2. Look at those eyes, look at his eyes, holy shit. So, this is a courtroom. The Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that be have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time, but for now... You need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin. Oh god, here we go. Ancient pain. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. Ouchie. As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to the trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I'm not reading my lines before I read them. As this is an unusual circumstance, I'm obliged to ask for a final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question for the professor. That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do... I need to answer quickly. What should I do? I'm like tempted to just wait and see on this one. Kazuma's the lawyer here. I can't defend myself. If I said I do, it would be tantamount to lying. And I've been accused of murder, for goodness sake. This is no time for lies. Try to stop fidgeting, Ryunosuke. It's distracting. But if I don't say I'll defend myself now, things could end very badly for my friend. Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate for his defense. What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. You'll be... what? What are you playing at, Ryunosuke? Professor Mikotoba told me everything, just now, before the trial. He did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose. How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off. Can you not word it like that, please? I'm sure it's fine in Japanese, but... No, it's not that, really. It's just that... well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already, renouncing his own counsel? Really?
Objection!
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he could speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Hmm? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. Yep, that's Phoenix, alright. Whoa, wait a minute. Wow, they kind of do the lines differently. They don't denote each one separately. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed. As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of the Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. Is it therefore my duty to assess that your competence for the task you have undertaken... Excuse me, it is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am. So, let's start with the very simplest of questions. Oh, yes. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I'd care to remember. But, wait. I'm so nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again? Ryunosuke. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank? You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. But I can't even find that. It's simple. You can access the court record with the press of R. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just have to press R for the court record. Alright, there's no time to lose. This is the list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead with R. University collar pin. Proof that I'm a student at the Imperial Yumei University. I always wear it on the collar of my uniform jacket. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press B to go back. Second year at Imperial Yumei University. He's my best friend, and despite being a student, a qualified defense lawyer as well. A medical professor at the Imperial Yumei University. He's an authority in forensic medicine and Cosmo's mentor. Taketsuchi Ouchi, the leader prosecutor of this case, who would appear to have little love for the changes the Cultural Reformation has brought about. That's why he's dressing so old-fashioned. Also, I'm pretty sure that Payne's family name in Japanese is Ouchi, so it's straight up just the Japanese descendant of Payne. John H. Wilson, victim of this case. He was a visiting professor of medicine at Yumei University from the British Empire, 47. They're pretty old to be in university. I guess maybe schools in Japan didn't work the same way they do now back then. So remember, everything you do with the current case can be found in the court record. Now you'd better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press X to present. Try it now.
Yes!
Yes! Yep, see, doctor doesn't have a period there. That's Europe, baby. B-A-Y-B-E-E. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. I don't know why my laugh got so deep there for a second. It's very weird. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England invited to Yumei University 3 years ago. Indeed, which is why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. And yet, despite delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yumei University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor? But I didn't do it. This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. Not America, those people suck. The court therefore, the Wi-Fi, that doesn't exist yet. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities. Is that it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. The British Empire. Wow. It's incredible to think. So I'm not going to. I just won't think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. Hey, Crayon, how you doing? Post-mortem report. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot wound to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. So it's in his body. John H. Wilson, male, British. Time of death, 19th November, shortly before 2 p.m. Cause of death, single bullet fired at close range. Fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit wound, bullet did not pass through body. Slept poorly, but you'll be fine. How's the gaming going? Pretty good, just started. After finishing 3 Metroid games in a row, I'm finally glad to be taking a break. The cause of death. Well, obviously, that was, Ryunosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. I'm sorry you slept poorly, though. I didn't sleep too well last night, mostly because I'm waking up 2 hours earlier to work this week. Because of my ridiculously long work schedule. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Present. Do it now.
Yes.
Well... According to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it. Sorry, yes, that's right. The, post-mortem report. Wait, what did he say? According to this document, okay. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. That's my name. I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the gunpowder explosion. Sorry, I'm too fixated in that delicious-looking steak back there. Is that Kobe beef? Did Kobe beef exist in the Meiji era? In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range. Period, not era. Sorry. Thank you, Counsel. The waste of a good steak to just leave it there. The guy died. I'm pretty sure he's not eating it. Thank you, Counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. Photographic print that shows the victim. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died. Claims to be pro-life. Dies anyway. Photographic print has been entered into the court record. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail's incredible. Very well, I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Certainly, Your Excellency. So without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. This is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yes, clearly the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I could still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. Okay. When he was speaking before with me, he simply said, Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense... Oh, that's Ryunosuke. He simply said, Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you could give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. I am not breathing properly during this. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course, my name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. Oh, carne. Haha. Steak. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It doesn't really bother me. What? Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago. Is it Occidental or Occidental? Understood. Otsunaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring, maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have a few diners at that time of day. Few. Few. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it, too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away my crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
Hold on, let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
Objection!
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur. But the next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke, you'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today. Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around the table. What's the matter, Ryunosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilkin? Where'd that come from? When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello... there was a woman sitting opposite of him at the table. Really? That's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Oh, wait and see, you idiot. I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke, if your parents tell you to study, you're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I'd never gotten into I'd never gotten into Yume University otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know. If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Alright, you've scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. Not reading those lines right. It's disappointing me. And there is something I want to say. I'm just going to shut my eyes and say it.
Yes!
Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection!
Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Surely. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy? No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please, have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. Ah, a sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume? That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you could see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. Nice coughing noise. So, the court has now heard a precis of this case. Yes, at the moment, the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in your terms of inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial. The prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? If there was no one else there, how are there more witnesses? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Like this bitch. He's like, seriously. Oh. ZR and ZL both do this. Oh, neat. There's like some level of zoom in that barely does anything. Can't even read the text on the bottle. Everyone keeps telling me that this trial's unusual, about these peculiarities. You said it, Professor Mikotoba said it. Or you said it, Professor Mikotoba said it, and so was the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing to now throw that trust back in my face. Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive that evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Auchi, please continue with the Professor Auchi, please continue with proceedings. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. He can be your angel or your devil. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witness. Witnesses. Very well, officer, bring forth the witnesses at once. Witnesses. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Ieyasu Nosa, reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District. Curio Korekuda, at your service. So this is straight up Professor Layton versus Ace Attorney style. An antique dealer and a soldier? What an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon. And not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Why did I say that like that? Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war. It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. I heard it too, I just was too busy talking to hear it. So, this is the So, This is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. He shit himself in anger. Hey, Kuro. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir. As a baby. Standing by, ready to report, sir. Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. What the witnesses saw. I was ingesting a regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black-uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian. Yeah. And from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Okay, why is there a baby noise, though? Is there a baby on your back? I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm tired. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon into the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. When I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. Well, I hope this is the game where these witnesses finally get in trouble for lying. Well, considering that this is, taking place in the late 1800s, I doubt it. Also, I really don't want to eat while I'm reading, just because this game is all reading, but, like, I really want to have a snack. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up... the gun spoke fluent Spanish. Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witness. Cross-examine? Do it now! As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly. The testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this trial. What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demands its right to a cross-examination. Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me how to do it. Told me to do it. How pathetic. Huh? How did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How could he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it, it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding. He peed a little. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. How? He didn't fire the gun, which means that what the soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing that is evidence. Right. Evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. That was a weak hand slap, buddy. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. Listen, Ryunosuke. We know there are lies lurking in these statements. It's time to expose them. I understand that. The question is, how? Like I said before, the key to this is using evidence that you've collected. You can examine and present evidence while witness is giving testimony by pressing R. Go through each witness statement and the details about each piece of evidence, and compare all the facts. Somewhere in there, you'll find something that doesn't add up. In other words, an inconsistency. An inconsistency? When you find a statement and a piece of evidence that seems to contradict each other, present your evidence with X and rip the witness apart. Just be careful, because if you assert a contradiction that has no basis, you'll be given a penalty. If you're dealt too many penalties, the defense's case will fall apart and you'll receive a guilty verdict. So that's it. Peruse the evidence in the court record and find an inconsistency with the witness's statement. Alright, I'll give it a try. You can hear the witness's statements over and over again, as many times as you like. So keep your head and be measured in your attack. Good luck, partner. So obviously, it's this from the back, because we know that he was shot in the front. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died.
Yes!
Noso looking like he wants pictures of Spider-Man. Yeah, he does kind of look like him. He does kind of look like J. Jonah Jameson. The old cartoon version of him. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Dusting some photographic print in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I love how nervous he is. It's so good. I mean, yes, there's a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense! What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma, what are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Iyesanosa. Yes, sir? What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black-uniformed varsity cadet fired upon the English gentleman, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
It's me, Captain O'Brien, sir. I don't know how I ended up in Meiji-era Japan, but I'm here. Tactical eyes. But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... I love you. Because... Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ugh. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? Babby! What the... What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. He's got square eyes. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious Le Carnival steak, sir. What? That last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Iyesanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Get wrecked. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. Yeah, there's achievements in this game. They're called accolades. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. First time anyone's ever used that term. But I definitely saw him! That university cadet there. Is Katana Boy Edgeworth's ancestor? He does the finger thing. I don't know, I don't think so. I mean, they're going with family names for all the characters, so... If that's the case, it would be Mitsurugi for the Japanese name for Edgeworth. Plus, it kind of doesn't make sense, just because Edgeworth's... Oh, no, I guess not. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes!
But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man? You didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure? Indeed, the Hohe Era Koban, my prized coin! Making sure the floor was in fact a floor. On each occasion when I visited that restaurant, it is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rasute, in the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you. On the day under scrutiny, it was the military man that I proffered my Hoi treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find. I did not, but I was presented with a little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished. It's like the Game Grumps, old lady voice from Skyward Sword. There's a character in Star Trek that makes a scream like that when he loses, and when he loses like whatever he was playing, like whatever his scheme was, and I can't remember what character it was and what Star Trek series it's from. He just like he gets defeated and he's like ah. The Koban vanished? Hunting around under the table I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for it was only with I'm having a stroke. For I was only concerned with finding my absconded Hoye treasure. What's a stroke? Nothing could distract me! Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. Gotta admire that dude's dedication, yeah. That lamentable day, the precious Hohe Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. The baby took it. As I'm sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. He stole it, look at him. Yeah. These guys are terrible witnesses. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Dude, it's gonna be like 4 in the morning there. I would not bother sending that telegraph to them. Come to think of it, I think that is 4 in the morning currently, if it's 9 a.m. in Japan. I think it's 10 hours between... No, never mind. I'm completely... Sorry, I'm stalling here. It is 6:14 a.m. in Britain. (2:14). So it's a time difference of 8 hours. So it would be 1 a.m. in Great Britain right now, if it's still 9 a.m. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict of trial. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Ouchie? Ouchie? Ouchie! Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witness has a further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear. Fuck this bald fuck. Look, he's got a top knot, okay? That there is only one person who could have possibly committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Ugh. Very well, the court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Man, I suddenly want chili for some reason. I don't know why. I really have a craving for it. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency. I'm gonna have to have chili for dinner, for like a post-stream meal after this. Yes, sir, at once, sir. Awaiting signal to testicles, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Ido! Attention! Your father is about to quell the enemy! Watch and learn, my boy. Sorry, I was distracted by that big nose boogie. The true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment of the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Children are gross. Yeah, but I mean that's just a common thing in Japan. They love their snot humor. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man. You've played Wind Waker. That was the young lad in black. That much I did see. Babibu. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that there were only myself. A visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Bee-boo-ba, he shot him. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. So sad. He was probably going to the red light district later. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These testimonies are certainly... Wait, that's nonsense! The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all. Please, enough of these outbursts already. But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
Objection!
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. Is this photographic print of the scene of the crime, Counsel? Indeed, of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. This doesn't make any sense. Court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we will be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time, after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt. These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Taketsuchi Ouchi, would have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor. All I said was, okay, so I was wrong, but he did it, yeah. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. There's something going on behind my head, too, and I'm not quite sure how. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. Where's Ryuho? The defense is entitled to cross-examination the witness, but make it quick, understood? Rules can be so unbending at times. Ugh. Even if what I saw wasn't... Oh yeah, we read this already. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Oh... What's the matter? I can't find anything. I can't find a clear discrepancy anywhere. I'm done for. I can't win this trial. No. No, 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 no. Listen. Wasn't that cool? It's called a burp. The first thing to do is calm down. Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I had to. I had to work that in there somehow. You can't expect... You invented it. You can't expect witness statements to be full of holes every time. So just take your time and try to tease more information out of them first. Tease it, as Gavin Free would say. What do you mean? Hey, he's British. I wonder if he'd make a good lawyer. You can choose to either press or present against each of the witness statements. If a witness is saying something you're suspicious about, press him on it with L. With a little luck, you may get more details, which could prove to be crucial. Right, I see. Whoops. Bottle of carbonated water and a steak lunch can be seen on the victim's table. Oh shit. It's Don Perignon. It's fucking seltzer. Satoru Hosonaga, head waiter of the European-style restaurant La Carnival. He was serving there on the day of the incident. Iesa Nosa, an army sergeant of the Empire of Japan who witnessed the incident. He's 4 years older than I am. Oh my god. Kiryo Kore Takuda, owner of Rasute, who was hunting for a lost Hoei-era gold Koban coin at the time of the incident. The important point is, there's no sense in holding back. See, Naruhodo saying I see is funny because the name Naruhodo, the word Naruhodo means, ah, I see. Like something like that. Like an exclamation of, like, yes, I understand. If anything even slightly jars you, press the witnesses on it and then press them hard. And press them hard, excuse me. Alright, got it. I'll press them like blocks of tofu. The professor wasn't alone in the restaurant, I'm sure of it. In one way or another, this cross-examination is going to prove I'm right. Get your finger in there and just press, yeah. Just push. It's time to press them for all they're worth. My fate depends on it. Right in the eye. I just want to check something real quick. Hold on, sorry. Okay, no update on the situation. So, literally right before I started streaming, the absolutely legendary actor and comedian Bob Odenkirk was apparently, like, rushed to the hospital while he was filming the last season of Better Call Saul, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't very concerned about that. The dude is amazing, and I really hope he's okay. I hope he's feeling better. Hope he's doing good. And I figured it's relevant because he plays a lawyer on TV. All the best wishes to him.
Yes.
No, it's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer of that versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so. Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked. Did you? Did you see it? Did you see me blink? How could I? And yet, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it. Have what? Attention! The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman. I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antiques dealer witnessed the accused in this most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Korikuda-san?
Yes.
Yes, it may be true that I was holding a gun at the point in time in question, but I've already told you already. Blech. Let me just rewind myself there. Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. Fuck. Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I've told you already. That's only because I picked it up off the floor. Well, obviously, as the culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away. I had just finished drinking my coffee, and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And at exactly that moment, a gunshot rang in my ears. All of events beyond our control, life is. Sorry, what do you mean? In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas, conversely, I failed to pick up on the Koban from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains, I did see you. With the pistol in hand standing over the foreigner. Cool to just let him bring a knife into the Supreme Court of Japan. Furthermore, a visual— oh wait, no. I don't need to reread that. You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
Objection!
As you've been at pains to point out time and time again— oh, that sounds like a good name. If I have a kid, I'm gonna name him Pain. I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. Luckily, the old man is getting pissy, so he's a knife instead of the pot now, yeah. If only there'd been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course that place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. That's when I eat breakfast. I eat breakfast at 1:30. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating there at that time of day, and why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason. There was? This was found in the victim's jacket pocket, and no one seems to mind that he pulled out a knife in a courtroom. I mean, again, this is the late 1800s. Who knows what's going on? I wasn't around then, were you? What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. Had a clinic? Yes, that would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. Oh god. The Hada Clinic exists now? 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. You don't know, you're getting pretty old. The very day of the incident. So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really had no bearing on this case. I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Huh? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you could request for it to be entered into the courtroom as court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report to be submitted as evidence or not?
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be, submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. What grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention, the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Whether or not they're of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon? You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend. Relatable. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. Yeah, okay, Boomer, seriously. Victim's medical report card has been entered into the court record. A medical report card from the Hada Clinic that was found in the victim's pocket. So it's the Hada Clinic, the Hadi Clinic, and then the Hickfield Clinic. Among all the games that's shown up in. And it's always the same dude running it. Though I guess in this it would be someone much older. Literally, as in someone who lived much earlier in time. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right. I hear you. You could conspire to prolong this trial as much as you'd like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Kurikuda-san. Oops. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Oh, there's no information on it. Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press A, and you can take a closer look at the piece of evidence in question. Use to rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using You can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, if they start to throb, press A to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learnt. Be learnt? Yo, let's get learnt, bro, by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I need to use this, and that to inspect any areas of evidence that look suspicious. Medical report card required for every visit. I can't find anything out of place. Name Mr. John Wilson, Hada Clinic. It says Hada Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics, almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. And I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. Ugh, I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people would give their right arm to have only had one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Especially these days, yeah. Dentist, Hada Clinic. Date, record number 372857. The code, Alex, the code. 372857. Looks like this medical report card was issued quite some time ago. It's probably a record of long-term treatment, that's why. With a family doctor, I imagine. Well, I can't imagine. Going to a doctor, I mean. As long as I'm alive, I'm never consulting one. Well, if you were dead, there'd be no point. So, you don't like doctors then? Why would you? Why? Would you? Or why would you? They make you drink horrible tasting medicine, they give you painful injections. I don't want to get a shot! And they demand lots of money for you from the privilege, all when you're at your lowest ebb. You sound like a model patient. With a bad case of stubbornness, no less, for which the only cure is a very bitter medicine indeed. Healthy curiosity awarded. Ryunosuke, what the fuck was that? Oh, don't worry about that. That's my achievements. That's how I live life, with arbitrary goals. Alright, let's flip this sucker open. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthesia effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. The medical report card's information has been updated in the court record. Record of dental work. On the day of the murder, the victim had undergone dental treatment and had been prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. You can't eat water. With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So, I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely. Defiantly. Indeed, he was the Englishman dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than... Okay. I guess it's just this one. Or maybe I didn't press enough yet. So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone. That I did. Forgive me for the position I place you in. So the testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? And let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well. As can clearly be seen, there's only a single beef steak on the victim's table. A meal for one. Good lord, I'm hungry now. Can I order, like, White Castle, like, right this minute? Are they open? No, I think ever since the pandemic started, they're not open anymore. No. I've gotten them late before, because I used to come home at 2 in the morning from my old job, from my old position at work. And when I'd come home, sometimes I'd order White Castle to be DoorDashed, like, the second I get home. So the bag would just be on the porch as I got there. And I'd eat White Castle at 2 in the morning. No delivery is available right now. Great. God, I miss how things used to be. The antiques dealer, the sergeant, and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. But if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea.
Yes!
Why aren't you telling the truth? What did you say, Cadet? I clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed. But for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion, it's just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's just not a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony the court had heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone. The victim? That's right. Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady. But I... If such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It is a blatant waste of the court's time. There's nothing I could say to that. Whoosh. Well done, Ryunosuke. We have even more to go on now. I still don't feel like the situation has really changed, though. No discrepancies have come to light, and that's what we need. Oh, I think the situation has changed a great deal. We've come a long way. How so? Because we have just what we need. It's simply a case of using it to our advantage now. Then, do you mean there is a discrepancy somewhere? The crucial point is, the victim had been prohibited from consuming anything but water when he was shot. The fact has not yet been brought to the court's attention. He's right. Thinking about Dr. Wilson's circumstances at the time of the incident puts that particular statement in a totally different light. Always keep your eye on the progress of the battle. That's the only sure way to win.
Yes!
Well, I think, about what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke, everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thank you. That makes me feel a whole hell of a lot better about my voice acting. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, and thanks for the advice. Korikuda-san, this is a medical report belonging to the victim. That is terrible advice for a lawyer, yes. It's okay, your dyslexia made me confuse up and down on stream today. Again, you were doing great, dude. Thank you. That is terrible advice for a lawyer, though. Oh my god. Ryunosuke, I have advice for you. Take this kazoo and talk through it. Everyone will believe you. Why would Chili's have a drive-through? Don't worry about that. I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement. If you fart over your words, no one will hear you, thus you can't be proven wrong. Look, I try to word over my farts, especially when I'm streaming. Because, I toot a lot. Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement. Something clearly doesn't add up.
Objection!
Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. But that's, Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. Oh yeah, I have a fan too. I could do that. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all. For that simple reason, there is no one else besides the pale-faced pupil who could have possibly perpetuated this crime. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that? I just realized he actually did the hand slam there. What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hata Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted? What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat? So what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't. Korikuda-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Ah! Expertly done, partner.
Objection!
What? What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How? How dare you? I think it's fair to say the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Ha 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 ha. Oh good, there's an autosave. Wow, you get 20 files in this game. Why would you need that many? So there's something cool in this version of this game. Story mode, if you turn this on, the game autoplays, and including picking the pressing and presenting evidence. So if you just want to read the story without playing the game, there you go. It's there. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yep, just like a visual novel, exactly. Yes, most definitely. So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. I'm not reading it, wow, wrong voice. Who in fact was eating the pictured beefsteak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh! That means me, doesn't it? Alright. The answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of your turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been the victim himself, me, the two witnesses, and as of yet unknown third party. Obviously, it could only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection!
You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes!
It was me. I was hungry for justice. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on this table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was someone else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. Excuse me. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly. Kazuma. Are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand. What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously, you will be charged with perjury. Perjury? And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? Yeah, they actually went there for once. No! Negative! There was no mention of this as a tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they, told us. Oh. What? Excuse me. What did you say, Korakuda-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now, hold on, lad. I was, Say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean... you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What?
Objection!
What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? Just one simple slip of the tongue. Oh yeah. I just wanted pictures of Spider-Man, damn it. Order. Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You try to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? I would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for this middling school kid lawyer. That's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Aochi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we could continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever really did this wield his or... Evidence that proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, whoever it really was that did wield her power here. Fuck. I cannot read that line. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. That's a poorly written line, though. It's written to fit the atmosphere. My tongue is really dry. Also, I'm yawning a lot. Oh, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure nothing's we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this? Well, Your Excellency. No time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... I mean, obviously, Iesa, because, he's a sergeant.
Yes!
There. What do you make of that? I think, Counsel, that you may want to close your ears as well as your eyes. Otherwise, the sighs of disappointment in the courtroom may very well deafen you. If you feel you must close your eyes in a crisis, might I suggest also keeping your mouth shut next time, too? Otherwise, I may have to use the influence I have in this courtroom to shut it. Permanently. I don't know what it is about the prosecutor exactly, but he really makes me wince in pain sometimes. Nice. Good one. I don't have a great deal of influence myself, but believe me, I can find other ways to make you keep your mouth shut as well. Alright, don't get angry. I'll think again. There must be a clue somewhere in all that evidence in the court record. Actually, now that I think about it, there might be some pieces of evidence I haven't thoroughly examined yet. Bolt did not pass through the body. Male British, time of death shortly. Okay. This plan of this restaurant raises a number of questions, I think. Definitely. It's supposed to show the relative position of everything in the moments following the incident. But there's nothing to show the woman you say you saw there. Exactly, and that's not all. Look here in the upper left, where it says kitchen. Oh yes, what of it? No one would use those complicated characters to write kitchen, especially not if they were in a hurry. You mean you don't remember those characters yourself, don't you? Study harder, Ryunosuke. This plan of the restaurant raises a number of questions. Oh, wait, yeah. Anyway, we could turn this around now, which we weren't able to do before. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Ah, shit. Well, that's unexpected. What is it? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. They're wielding it here somehow. Waiter's business card information has been updated in the court record. On the front, it stated that Hosonaga-san is a police inspector. Oh, there we go. We know who it is now.
Yes!
Yas Queen. Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. You got it? You called it? Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier.
Objection!
Poppycock! Haha, I said cock. What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter cannot possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were a waiter. What? If he truly were? Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity, as proven by this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, the back of the that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. Picture of a kitten on a skateboard. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said the front. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. Fucking cops, man. So witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you those orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. As you could clearly see, there was no poppy nor cock here. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. That someone would dare look at the back of the card. God damn it, how did I not see that coming? The court will take this plan... Yeah, I'm not reading flashbacks. How dare you flip paper? Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So you mean to say, you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant raider? Raider? Waiter. Of course. Your salary must have been terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? Undercover is someone who isn't being paid enough, yeah. That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would have also been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this this other diner. Therefore, I'm led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you require these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Undercover is where he's trying to sweep this murder. Yeah. Unbelievable. As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen and to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say... Remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the I'm getting lightheaded. I don't know how I'm going to do this whole game. There's 10 cases. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Cosmo? Yuma University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for this overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. And the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett? Jezebel. No. Giselle Brett. She's indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yuma University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the Public Bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. Excuse me, I burped. At least it wasn't Candace. Who's Candace, Kuro? Candace, dick fit in your mouth. That was too low. Hold on a second. Let me get that closer up. Why is my phone so low? You certainly got me, Kuro. My friend got me with one the other day. Oh my god, what was it? He said to me, "Hey, have you ever heard of Comindus?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Comindus ass, bro." And I was like, "Nice." Was he tested positive for Ligma? Who the hell's Steve Jobs? Ligma balls. No! That's like my favorite one. The Dr. Manhattan Rorschach Steve Jobs Ligma balls one. Who the hell is Steve Jobs? I must now be up to your excellency to decide how to deal with the situation. It must now be up to you. Okay. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection!
But, Your Excellency, my perfect record! That would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Noon deadline. Wait. 8? How far in the... So it'd be 4 a.m. over there. Who's awake in Great Britain to take that telegram? Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. Calm your tits. Calm your tits, ouchie. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Oh, now you grow a backbone. Cool, thank you. Ah! Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So, it won't be a problem? Nothing will get in my way. Okay, but why is coughing up blood for you a regular occurrence? What the hell are you doing? Court will adjourn briefly. Prosecution must call the English student, Giselle Brett, to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency! My nervous tick is ripping my fingers off. Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. Oh my god, it's been 2.5 hours and we're not even halfway through the first case. Greatest Attorney Adventure. So I think the way this is split up is that, because it's 5 cases per game. And I think instead of just splitting it into 2 games, they just have, so the first 5 episodes are GAA Adventures, and I think the second half is GAA Resolution or something like that. But I'm not entirely sure. $11:38 a.m. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. Ugh, my heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight. Before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Knees weak, arms spaghetti. Mom spaghetti, Ryunosuke spaghetti, everyone's spaghetti. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. I'm sorry, but I have 9 more cases saying otherwise, dude. Anyway, looks like we've exposed your Phantom Lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett. Maybe they take place outside. No, I'm pretty sure they don't. A student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are the one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the very start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system, even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life. No, lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma? Well then, looks like it all comes down to you, man. You, young man. To me? Yes. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Yeah, 1 second after that ends is too short. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. Enable skipping of unread text in the main game. Escapable text. Escapades text. Oh god. So this is only for new text. It's still automatically on for old text, no matter what. Turn screen flashes on. Turn vibration on or off. Yeah. Subtitles. Yes. Wait time. Adjust the length of time until the next line of dialogue is displayed in autoplay and story mode. Wow, imagine doing half a second to read all the dialogue. Honestly, a full 3 seconds is probably the best. So if I do auto, maybe make it 2.5. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau want to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. This is pretty good, yeah. 2.5 works. Best of luck. Thank you. I could probably bump it down to 2, but that's still a little too much, I think. Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know it hit them. Kazuma. What? Thank you. Really? What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just a battle for me anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. Oops. You could treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. I do like how that sound effect mimics, like, old not Japanese, but old typewriters. As opposed to the older games, like, New Age, like, kind of classic typewriter sound. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Oh, I've subpoenaed them, alright. Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders? And our nation founders? What? Is that supposed to be flounders? I'm pretty sure that's a typo. Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, and a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan, or of England? Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. Okay, so I have to state something here. I am not getting the World Ends With You Neo tomorrow yet. Apparently, it's not going to arrive until Thursday. So I'm actually probably going to skip out on streaming it this week and just stream Fuga on Thursday. I don't think that any... I'm going to do another Ace Attorney stream tomorrow, but I don't think any more Ace Attorney streams past this point are going to be full 3 to 5 hour streams. I think 1.5 hours of Ace Attorney is enough, and I'll just do them more often with more split streams of other games, because this is absolutely killing my mouth. Ugh, excuse me. Actually, where is Warlands with you right now? Just gonna do a quick check here. Actually, it says arriving tomorrow, but I don't believe that. See, that says expected delivery Thursday. Yeah, but it also says arriving tomorrow, so I don't know. We'll see, but, definitely not doing... After these first two streams, I'm definitely not doing full streams of this game. It has to be segmented, otherwise I'm gonna fucking blow my throat out. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing I feel very strongly about. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Thank you, Counsel. This court is in the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes. Your Excellency! That's a hat, alright. Miss Murder Bitch. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Tea. Someone bring English tea. In English, no discussions take place without tea. Is that true? No idea. So, ahem. Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at Le Carnival, but my true... Yes, we all know about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In English, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Phantom Thief, Haru Okumura. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... What? I think I already know. She's speaking English. The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yume University's medical faculty. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people! I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. As far as I can tell, The detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention to all your English classes, Ryunosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnaval, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? She says, yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? I can take one wild guess at why she can't speak Japanese, or why she isn't speaking Japanese. She doesn't want to associate with Japanese people. This game apparently gets pretty heavy-handed on the British on Japanese racism. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting, when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes all over this photographic print? All? Where do they all come from? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of this wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Presentation about gun violence. Apparently it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right in this very courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Order in the court. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. Why does the professor have a gun? I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Yes.
This is a condemning testimony. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Bitch, you better quiet your fucking mouth, you bitch. Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard. And look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. Still making those same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person she could have concealed a firearm. What about in that giant hat? Could have stuck it in the bird wing. Yeah, the goose gun. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Unless and until maybe she wasn't hiding it in her outfit. That's right, she was hiding it in her mouth. Her mouth has a cannon in it. Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden the weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. Ah, that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Nice. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. She has 7 guns on her currently. You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Hold on, sorry. I just... Just looking at something. Again, my voice is getting very tired. And this stream still technically has another 20 minutes to go. Which sucks, because I really wanted to stream this more today, and I wanted to do a long stream of this tomorrow, since I won't have World Ends with you, but I don't think my throat can handle more than 3 hours of this. I might have to do... Maybe what I'll do tomorrow is I'll stream from, like, 10 to midnight, take an hour break, and then come back at, like, 2... Or no, at 1, and just stream again for another, like, 2 hours or so. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. A frightening and sorrowful sight. I arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Yes!
I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did was when I noticed him, was go over to say hello. Please don't get angry with me. No, I wasn't directing that retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor. I did not hit him. I did not. I'm afraid your words are in vain. Sorry? Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese. No, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway. This dude... Wow, he is such a fuck. English is the future. We must all supiku ingudishu. Whoa! Okay. I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever, or only in the presence of a beautiful woman, I feel dirty reading that out loud. I'm not gonna lie. That's really... I mean, look... It's an accurate portrayal of how he'd probably say those words, but man, that is, that does not feel good to say that out loud. It's not gonna feel good also later, because, like I said, this game kind of piles on the British elitism in terms of, how they see the Japanese. Which, in other words, racism. Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat. That part ties in with what you said, doesn't it? Yes, I still had some coffee to drink. And the next time you got up after that was when I'd finished my coffee and stood up to leave.
Yes!
Like I said, I did not shoot that gun. And like I said, there's no point repeating that assertion over and over. Why do I keep saying assertion? Assertion. Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side. Nevertheless, defendant, you cannot deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand. Well, yes, that's true, but all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes, there was someone much closer to the victim than me at the time. The highly suspicious lady in the stand. That will do, you dirty, rotten scoundrel. Dirty? Your baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy. It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours. What nonsense. The lady is merely stating what she saw. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyway. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Yes!
It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes, immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." That's all you did? You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No. Why on earth not? The honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated that she did not possess a weapon. There was obviously no need for any further probing into the matter. Or, there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps. Think what you will, but if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you will support that assertion with facts. In other words, he wants evidence. Hey, someone was just murdered. Do you have a gun? No. Seems legit. Carry on. The lady wishes to point out that of course she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation. But she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention that your office had told you to get that woman out of there. Not get her out of there, I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime. Which is why she is only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today. Cooperate? Of course. Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. You could at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm goading you. So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor, at the end of which you shot him. Which is an out-and-out, totally unfounded lie. Sorry. Still, her statements are very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in dull black school uniform. I'm dressed exactly the same way as you are, except for the flapping red ribbons. Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction it is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even you with your thick skin must be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from around the room. Only too well. I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony isn't making me feel any better either. First thing to do is press her on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that, and an opening will present itself. I promise you. I need to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's behind that. I need to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind that mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination.
Yes!
After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are en vogue, isn't that right? No. Oh, that was Brett saying that. No. A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to have lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic, what a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? Professor was unable to eat, so I ordered it for myself only, a beefsteak.
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hada clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left. Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. I think I know the contradiction here. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Ryunosuke, about the witness's last statement? It's very meaningful. Inspiring. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing? The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well sidestepped, counsel. Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right? I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this. This implies that the other things she said don't count towards her testimony? No, it just adds that new statement. I ordered a beefsteak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water.
Yes.
So both you and the professor drank this carbonated water, did you? Yes. Being the waiter, I poured the 2 glasses myself. I clearly remember doing so. Except you're actually a detective. And the beefsteak? That was for you, Miss Brett? The lady says that she'd heard it was not customary to eat beef here until Japan opened its doors to the world. Yes, that's true. What a frightful place, is the lady's opinion. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful. Every country has its own cuisine. As long as people have food to eat, what does it matter what it is? True. Come to think of it. The first time I tried carbonated water, it was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. But anyway, back to this witness's statement. Wow, that's a face. Somehow I feel like there's something out of place in what she's saying. We need to pounce on even the slightest thing now. Because you never know what might lead us to our goal. I am out of hydration. Our goal of turning this trial around. Understood, Kazuma. He stares into your soul. After a while, the accused came over to greet... Okay, no.
Yes!
Yas. That's it! British exchange student who was studying under the victim at Yume University's medical school. She's 24. I guess they're all about in their mid-20s, all the main characters. I am 34. Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, that is... It's odd. Very odd. Dear me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself. Yonosuke, what is it about the print that looks so odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ah. You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here. Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case? So I know the word minutia. Recently, that word came up in something that and something stupid that I've been watching, and it's something that's actually going to be relevant to a stream I'm doing next month. Let's just say I have another LEGO stream coming up next month at some point. And it's going to be quite interesting. Sorry, LEGO time. Yeah, LEGO time. What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on this case?
Objection!
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you could clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious. Sorry. Imagine if all the English text in the game was in that script. There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all. Oh, please. We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or two in her state of disarray? That's absurd! Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable young and beautiful woman of mischief? Japery? What? No. This can't be put down as to mischief. Jesus. Japanese Jesus. Shinto gods. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. Handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by the well-to-do women in England. So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense? No place for logic in court, yeah. Are you in agreement? Well, I don't know, really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance here, it's the glass, the handbag, nothing in particular. Well, the handbag, obviously. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. You know what Ouchie is? He's a fucking Tea-aboo. He's obsessed with Great Britain. Let me see here. A while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag. Oh, he just fails at doing that. In which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that, too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we could deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting... Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Did you or did you not search Mr. Zale Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir. I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No! No! Order, order, order! What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Prosecutor Auchi? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. And get fucked, Swan Murderer. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. I don't. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Also shows a weird marking on the dude's hand, which I've already seen that before. That's the marking of the steak plate. In other words, at some point, dead dude must have had his hand placed over that plate, and it's like imprinting on him. As you can clearly see, it shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You could see through right to what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are very clearly visible. Exactly. So, there was no need to search this lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Order, order. Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. Photograph taken by Hosonaga-san after the incident shows Miss Brett's handbag on a chair by the victim's table. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weaker the meat, while the strong eat. You were wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact you could chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. That's a very sturdy fan, yeah. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well, I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all. It's already past noon, so we already missed it. That smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you... Wait! Your Excellency! Ryunosuke? I don't think you could rule on this case yet.
Objection!
This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial's over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As a photographic print just submitted to appears to have no further significance, there's no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. Look at this photo. Graph. Every time I do it makes me laugh. Uh-oh. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on that day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. You could put your palm on it. Okay, well, I grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. Maybe you want to save your game, too, just to be safe. Clear as that handbag. You will identify for the court where in this print we see some significant detail to which you have alluded. You identify... okay. It's right here. And see this shit?
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. Looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Oh, it's a burn mark. Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say? On the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. Sorry, I went from ouchie to the judge there. However, as Prosecutor Aouchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and the other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What you're thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with this case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we could just link that burn to the case. If we could do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence... Evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case. Then you would allow it? I would, yes. Tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection to the victim's burn in this trial.
Yes!
What's this, counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe its photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would really be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us for a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn? Sick burn.
Yes!
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Ah! Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnaval. This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ryunosuke, you genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that's the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before that, and most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Auchi, chances of that are extremely slim. Wish I could stick around for the thrilling conclusion. I know, I gotta stop. You gotta get to work, yeah. I gotta make my chili, because I'm hungry now. I'm extremely hungry. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Have a good one. Thank you, Crayon. You have a good day. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Kick Swan bitch's ass. I want to see your loser shit. Yeah, me too. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnaval, I can testify that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Auchi? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think... No, I don't think. Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but... I'm starting to think that maybe... we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I could think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting... Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Oh, already? Dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order, please! Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Auchi, it's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it is highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But, Your Excellency... The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Ah, Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country, after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Did I not call that? Did I not call that she's a fucking anti-Japanese piece of shit? But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I could see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Whoa. Well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this, the lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words. About the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're going to finally hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea why the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible causes of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably won't pick up on it anyway. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down into the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer, then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Ow. My face. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. Le Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Oh, we got this is another thing from Professor Layton versus Ace Attorney. It doesn't even occur to you that you're naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? Haha, a killer blow. The lady's as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Aochi is finally starting to see the sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We may need to find a way to break her testimony or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Why would you use that phrase? Come on. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hosonaga. The detective. Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if that might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we could get out of the detective. Alright then. Keep your secrets. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Wow, I got lucky there. I just did that by chance. I thought that was going to be the least significant statement.
Yes!
Wait.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with the control pad, you could turn your attention to other people in the stand. What are you talking about, Kazuma? Are you okay? While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to use Pursue on them with the A. If you could catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first just move the marker with the... Okay, yeah.
Wait.
Excuse me.
What the? What's the meaning of this? What the fuck is a control pad? Yeah. What's a video game? What's the R button? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. Looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? That is a very, very Edgeworth, thing there. A Sogi. If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over. Immediately! Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved with the case. Inspector Hosonaga? Yes? I'm sorry, that was... You have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices... What? Oh, sorry. I thought I just got a, I gotta mute this... There's a chat that I have that constantly pings me, and I gotta mute it. There it is. Mute forever. The lady is right. Our country police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hasanaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved with flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touch a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Carbonated water the victim shared with Miss Brett on the day of the murder. It was on the victim's table. Miss Brett? Can you confirm that this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Ahem. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. This carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder... Could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. This Mega Man Buster is poisoned. What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have possibly done that. Giselle Brett. It was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous. This is just a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile. Have you ever considered the delicate situation your country finds itself in now? Our country? Have you forgotten that we only just signed an accordance of friendship with the British Empire? Have we even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. Ahem, if I may, I will silence you forever for this disgraceful attack. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady! Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady, to what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of this bottle and its contents. And what did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No. No! I don't have it in me to scream. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. That means Mr. Police Officer? But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. It can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think the cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution has asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is only the conceivable cause of death. Maybe he could piece together two pieces of this puzzle considering that he's the law. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding the weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter was resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
The 11th hour piece of evidence arrives. Please wait. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Sasato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. There's more? Oh, we cannot finish this tonight, I'm afraid. Wow, this first case is more than 4 hours long. Okay, I gotta call it. I can't keep going. There's 10 of these, and this is the shortest case. This game is gonna last a while. I don't know if I could stream this whole thing. I don't think I have the endurance for it. Yeah, this is the first case. The first case is always the shortest. But you know what? This is fine. Oh, it actually asks you to save before you quit. That's nice. It's fine. It's late. I want to eat something before I go to bed, so this is the perfect time for me to cut it off. Pick an adventure. What is... Oh, I see. Left and right, yeah. Adventures and Resolve. There we go. The interesting thing is that you can actually start from any chapter you want. Which is pretty cool. But, I'm not going to do that, obviously. Yeah, it's a very long game. There are a bunch of special stuff. We'll probably look at these at some point. There's also these, which, These all take place over various parts of the series, but not right now. They're all like little, like, side things that mean nothing. Frank successfully presented evidence during the first cross-examination that occurs... Well, I didn't do it in the second one. They'll examine the medical report card inside and out in episode 1. Great attorney. Okay. There's a bunch, and it actually gives you... Like, some of these gives you, Some of these actually give you, like, guides on how to unlock them. Which is neat. But yeah, that is absolutely where I'm going to take a break for tonight. Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. There's a lot here. A lot here to go through. I'm looking forward to doing more of this. If I don't get World Ends With You tomorrow, which I shouldn't, because it's apparently coming Thursday, I will do another stream of this, probably cut it in half and do like an intermission so I could recover. But yeah, this was fun. I absolutely exhausted myself tonight. Thanks for coming, Kuro. Thank you, Crayon. Thank you everyone who was here at various points. I really appreciate it. If you want to watch more streams, check out twitch.tv/team/wildabandon. Plenty of people streaming there right now. My auto host will take you to one of them as soon as I go offline. Again, more of this tomorrow. Fuga Melodies of Steel on Thursday. Friday and Saturday I will be off. And then we'll see what happens next week. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I know. I like streaming, especially when people are watching me. Thanks, Kuro. I have confirmed I will be taking Wednesday next week off work. I'm going to be busy in the afternoon. I'm going to be doing something with my mother, so I won't be around. But I might be here earlier than usual for streaming, so I might get like a long stream in on Wednesday, and we'll see what happens the weekend after that. But anyway, that's it for now. Y'all have a great evening, and I will see you all tomorrow. Good night.